I want to state very clearly that Canadian taxpayers are real, despite the gaslighting by the Liberal Secretary of State in her reply to my question on food prices and fuel taxes. The Liberal Party introduced a new fuel regulation that requires all gasoline to be diluted with even more ethanol. Those regulations clearly increase the cost of fuel. The Liberals claim this price hike is imaginary. So, for the benefit of Liberals listening, here's a direct quote from the Liberal regulations. Quote, "It is expected that increases in transportation fuel expenses will disproportionately impact lower and middle class households, as well as households currently experiencing energy poverty or those likely to experience energy poverty in the future." End quote. This government wrote those words. They know for a fact their regulations make fuel more expensive for Canadians. Those extra costs are not imaginary, they are real, and they will disproportionately harm Canadians with lower and middle incomes. But the Liberals don't care about the lower and middle income Canadians anymore. The Liberal Party base looks like their cabinet, affluent and privileged. That party has completely lost touch with average Canadians. They keep saying their solution to food insecurity is a government-run program for food. Canadians don't want handouts. They don't want to need food programs. The only thing worse than forcing people to rely on food programs is making children pay for it. There is no such thing as a free lunch. That is probably something we should teach kids in schools. The Liberals borrowed money to fund their new social programs. That means children eating those Liberal unfunded lunches will be on the hook for the bill in the future. When those kids graduate school, instead of a diploma, they'll receive a tax bill. Borrowing money for today's handouts is the exact opposite of an investment. Instead of generating a return on the money, we pay interest on the debt. Canada has been here before. Pierre Trudeau needed NDP support for a minority government. They ramped up spending while suffocating the economy in protectionist measures. Justin Trudeau needed NDP support for his minority government. They ramped up spending while suffocating the economy in woke measures. They always seem to claim that they see a light at the end of the debt tunnel. That's just the headlights of reality hurtling towards them like a freight train. The government can pretend its expensive fuel regulations, costly food packaging ban, and the economically damaging industrial carbon tax are make-believe. But for Canadians paying the bill, these taxes are very real.
The Honourable Parliament Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the member opposite is suggesting that responsible climate policy is a burden. This is simply not true. Canadians want a secure future. Canadians like my son and my daughter, one where they can earn a good living, put food on the table, and breathe clean air. They also want a government that protects them from climate disruption and builds an economy that can win in a world moving towards cleaner energy and technology. Acting on climate is both a moral obligation and an economic necessity. We are living through a historic global shift. Last year, global clean energy investment reached $2 trillion, nearly double what went into fossil fuels. Countries are competing fiercely to attract investment in low-carbon industries because those industries will drive jobs and growth for decades to come. The newly tabled Budget 2025 recognizes that reality. It charts a path to secure Canada's position in the global race, not by prohibitions, but by driving investment and prioritizing results. Budget 2025 invests in the infrastructure and technology that will define tomorrow's economy: nuclear expansion, clean electricity grid interties, low-carbon fuels like hydrogen, renewable energy, critical minerals, and world-leading industrial innovation. This is how we build prosperity in a changing world. The member opposite wants to cancel climate tools like industrial carbon pricing, but that would cost Canadians jobs and competitiveness. Industrial carbon pricing, backed by a predictable, long-term price trajectory, is the most efficient and lowest-cost tool to reduce emissions and attract private capital. Independent experts confirm it has almost no impact on household costs while providing businesses the certainty they need to invest. Budget 2025 strengthens this system by improving the benchmark, ensuring fairness across provinces, and expanding tools like carbon contracts for difference, so companies can invest with confidence. This is a policy focused on results and competitiveness, and this matters for some of Canada's most important sectors. Lower emissions mean greater competitiveness for steel and oil and gas because global buyers increasingly demand low-carbon products. If we do not modernize, our exports will face barriers, tariffs, and lost market share. Cancelling climate policy would not protect Canadians. It would leave workers and industries behind. Mr. Speaker, our approach is clear. Drive investment, deliver the greatest emissions reductions at the lowest cost, secure access to global markets, and build an economy that wins in a low-carbon world. And I believe Budget 2025 delivers that plan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Algonquin, Renfrew, Pembroke.
Mr. Speaker, I think I can see from the parliamentary secretary's recycled talking points that the Liberals don't listen. I accept that these arrogant Liberals will never listen to Conservative voices, but I quoted the words they wrote back to them, and they still pretend like somehow this is all imaginary. We get it. They won't listen to Canadians who care about affordability or even reality. Maybe our self-professed economic genius of a Prime Minister could explain to the Parliamentary Secretary what happens when you have to borrow just to make your interest payments. This government has put us into a debt spiral. Claiming we are the best off in the G7 is like claiming to be the least intoxicated person at an Epstein party. Canadians deserved an affordable budget for an affordable life. What yesterday's budget makes clear is that Liberals only care about themselves.
The honourable parliamentary secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And yesterday's budget makes our direction unmistakable. It backs industrial carbon pricing with long-term certainty and focuses on measures that deliver the greatest emissions reductions and competitiveness benefits at the lowest cost to Canadians. These policies are not a tax on Canadians. They are a strategic economic tool that reward innovation and will protect jobs. They ensure Canadian steel, energy, and manufacturing remain competitive in markets demanding low-carbon products. Abandoning the approach would leave workers exposed and investment flowing elsewhere. Budget 2025 keeps Canada competitive, secure, and positioned to lead in this clean economy. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.